Here are Jordan Moore and John Jackson.
Jordan Moore, John Jackson, and the head coach, Clay Helton, sitting down with us now on Trojans Live, brought to you by Cooper Tires. Cooper Tires knows that the 4 tires in your vehicle are what connect you to the road and help keep you safe. Count on Cooper and visit coopertires.com today. All right, riding a 13-game winning streak and fresh off the practice field for a short week. Tough one for Clay Helton to get his team ready for Washington State on Friday night. But let's quickly wrap up that Cal win first. And Coach, 10 turnovers forced in the last 2 weeks. So what's been the key to this turnover binge that your defense has been on?
Well, we really challenged our defensive front to be able to get to the quarterback with 4 rushers. Clancy, I thought, did a really nice job instituting some new coverages that you saw from 2-man to 1 robber to 3 buzz, and I thought confused a young quarterback. But the challenge was, if you're going to play coverage, the 4-man rush has got to get home.
Yep.
And not only are you getting the 10 turnovers, but you've also had 8 sacks in the last 2 games, plus a number of batted balls, 2 batted balls. We had 4 total, but 2 of the batted balls turned into interceptions.
Yep.
So credit the defensive front. I think they're doing a great job, and then an opportunistic secondary that's making the most of their opportunities.
I'm going to go to the offensive side. We talked about it a little bit in the post game, but the thing that impressed me the most, and I went back and watched some of the game, is that when Cal sort of was having some success defensively against you guys, most people would say, hey, we got to change the plays or do different plays. You guys changed the tempo. I thought that was a major factor in that game. Is that something that you talk about during the week in terms of what you want to do tempo-wise against the opponent?
Yeah, a lot of times you see we use a lot of motions to try to free up wide receivers or try to get a certain rotation of coverage to be able to run the opposite way. But there's a point in time, too, that you just get in a rhythm by getting lined up, getting set, and going to play ball. And I thought T did a really nice job of in that third quarter even, it was like, Coach, they're not handling tempo pretty well. I'm going to go. I said, put the gas pedal down. Go ahead.
Okay.
And I thought he did a nice job of really getting us into a nice flow and consistency, better consistency in the second half.
It was a little bit of a grind, though, offensively. What do you want to see to get back to maybe a few more explosive plays offensively and make life a little bit easier on you?
Yeah, the 2 areas that really stood out to me, because, you look up and you're almost having 500 yards of offense.
Yep.
You're averaging almost 500 yards of offense a game, 35-plus points a game. The one thing that has stood out to me, especially in the last 2 games, is finishing drives, especially in the red zone. We crossed the 50 a bunch of times in that game the other day, but you have 2 turnovers on the plus side of the field. You have a 4th and 1 stop, and you kick 3 field goals. Well, that's not going to be good enough for a team that's scoring 44 points in Washington State. You're going to have to finish drives, and a part of that, I think, is creating more explosive plays in the pass game also. I look up, and our longest completion was 19 yards. That's usually not us.
Right.
And in that game, credit to Coach Wilcox, Coach DeRuiter. I thought they did a good job with their DBs of really playing deep, forcing us to hit the underneath shallow routes and basically forcing Sam to take what they gave him, whether it was him taking off running or having to dump the ball down.
Talk about Stephen Carr a little bit. I know he's, majorly impressive to you because of the way he's playing, but every time I watch, the more I watch him play, the more things I'm impressed by. He fumbles in the game, right? And, of course, a freshman fumbling, that's the, taboo, don't ever put the ball on the ground. But then the response by him. And then he gets down in the, down the red zone close to the goal line, and he lowers his shoulder and goes over Downs, the linebacker, who's a big-time player as well. His development, maturity, surprised?
Definitely. You never expect it from a true freshman. I've been fortunate to be here for my 8th season and to see the Dory Jacksons and the Juju Smiths and the Robert Woods, Nelson Aguilar, Marquise Lees. You have those special guys that just the light comes on for them a lot quicker than maybe most. And Stephen has been that guy. You never anticipate a kid going, all right, I can run the ball, I can catch the ball out of the backfield, and I'm learning protections pretty darn quick, and especially as a true freshman. So very proud of him, to have a Ronald Jones go down, and then to have those 3 backs come in there, all give valuable reps. Stephen Carr, Vi, and Said was really proud of that core because they helped lead the way.
I'm sure as it is for many and most head coaches, complacency is one of your least favorite words, and that's why I was so impressed. 2 guys, Chase McGrath and Christian Rector, came out of nowhere in that Texas game. They were hailed as heroes for a week. and they played better against Cal. What does it say about those two guys that instead of reading their clippings all week, they managed to improve?
Yeah, credit to both kids. I thought Christian was one of those guys I'm talking about on the defensive line that, really, I thought created havoc on the quarterback, getting him off his spot, had 2 sacks in the game, forced a fumble in the game, really played well. And I can't say enough about Chase. I think his confidence growing with every kick. We're confident in him as a staff. Our players are confident in him that he's going to make every one. And that 46-yarder the other day was into the wind, and he drilled it.
Big kick.
Yeah, big kick for us, and good by him.
All right, you need a place to watch the USC football game on Friday against Washington State. Head over to Traditions, Tradies as the kids call it. Food and drinks, prizes you can win. The watch party starts at 6:30 p.m. Traditions on campus. We'll be back with Coach to talk about that Washington State game next on Trojans Live. Trojan fans get 1 free admission to the Ralph's Ultimate Tailgate Experience and select USC football home games this fall when you purchase $35 of participating items at Ralph's. Look for the signs and tags in store. Every $35 you spend gets you 1 admission. Jordan Moore, John Jackson, the head coach, Clay Helton on ESPN LA 710 and Facebook Live. And everyone on Facebook's asking about Rojo, Coach. So what's the health update? You just came from the practice field. What's the health update? Are you hopeful to get some guys back this week?
Yeah, Rojo did practice today and got some good work in. He's looking better. Did not go through the entire practice. We went through about 3/4. Was looking good. We ended it right there. We'll see where the soreness is tomorrow, but I thought today was very positive moving forward. So he looked good. I'm hoping to get him back.
All right, anytime we talk about Washington State, I went straight for the offensive stats. You made sure you pointed out to me the defensive stats. This Washington State team, #1 defense in the conference, giving up 262 yards a game. This is gonna be is it gonna be a different game or they're just tougher this year?
With a Mike Leach team, Coach Leach is always going to put up yards and points.
That's right.
But what I've been so impressed with is they're playing so well as a team right now, and that's the reason they're 4-0 and ranked as high as they are. And it starts with their defense. It really, when you look at Dotson as the Mike linebacker, you got Hercules, who's a tackle for loss nightmare. You better know where he's at all times. He's got 4.5 sacks, 8.5 tackles for loss. This is a really good, aggressive defense that is putting up a staggering 262 yards a game, which leads our league. So it starts there. They're another team that loads the box. They put their corners on islands, and it's going to be a challenge to a quarterback and wideouts to make some plays to try to open up some running lanes. It ought to be a lot of fun in the Palouse.
For the neutral, it will be billed as a matchup of 2 quarterbacks that I think everyone around the country looks forward to seeing. Tell us about their guy. We know all about our guy, but Luke Falk, I think, a pro in that other locker room.
Yeah, Luke's an NFL kid. I mean, you look at it, he's completing about 76% of his balls and 14 touchdowns and 1 interception. Just the efficiency jumps off the page at you right now about how he's leading this football team. He's always been a gritty kid, and we saw him as a freshman, if you remember. In that game, we got up, and I think it was Holiday was the quarterback, got hurt, and he comes in and throws 4 touchdowns in a blink of an eye. I was like, oh my God, we're gonna have to play. We're skipping 2 years, but we're gonna have to play this guy when he's a senior. And here's the day, credit to the kid, man. He is playing a high-level football right now.
Anytime I watch Washington State play, the first thing I think of is receivers. Receivers with a ton of catches and a ton of yards. It's not the case with this team. The running back, James Williams, is the leading pass receiver.
Yeah.
What are they doing differently, and how's that happen?
Well, you combine him with Morrow, and combined catches, they have 50 catches.
Yeah.
Williams got 37, and the leading receiver on the team. They've always done a great job. Coach Leach has always done a great job of getting the back out of the backfield, whether it's swings, whether it's arrows, whether it's designed routes for the back, because he likes you can tell he loves the matchup of the linebacker on his back and putting it out in space and having a guy that can make you miss. And that's what's happening. He's getting those kids out in space, and they're making safeties and linebackers miss and creating yards. And Credit to Luke. You know, he looks downfield. It's not there. He's checking the ball down, and those kids are making plays.
You know, we were talking about this earlier in the show when the schedule came out. Everyone said, oh, this is the trap game. But now that it's here, it's about the most obvious trap that could ever be said. It's the 16th ranked team in the nation with a high-octane offense and a great defense. How are you presenting this to the team as you prepare them for what is, you know, a primetime showdown?
Yeah, we have pretty smart kids. They understand that any Pac-12 game is hard, and everyone's so important to your season. And to go out on the road on a Friday night with everybody watching and have the opportunity to play another Pac-12 team that we feel is really, really talented, it makes for a great challenge. So you don't have to sell it too much to the kids. They are aware of how big a game this is. I could tell in practice today how focused and businesslike, and just to the matter of fact, they know it's a short week. We know we got our jaws set. We got to grind through this week and try to go get a big win for our team.
You know, Coach, talk to me about Sam Darnold and how you're sort of approaching his entire, you know, start to the season. On the positive, he has 9 touchdowns. He's thrown for over 300 yards. I mean, he's made some spectacular plays that, you know, we always tell no other quarterback could make if presented. But the big glaring numbers of 7 interceptions. How do you approach that?
Yeah, you know, you don't make it a huge deal, in my opinion. I don't want to ever make Sam a robot or a machine. You try to give him coaching points, try to say, hey, this is what the coverage was. Think about this. Some of them aren't his fault. Some of them he's hit dead in the hands, and they've bounced off, and that's part of playing quarterback. But as I try to remind everybody, and especially him, the number one job of a quarterback is to produce and win ball games. And what the kid has done is the last 13 times has gone out there and find a way to win the ball game. And that's what great quarterbacks do. They put the team on their back, and they go out there and they find a way to win. And some days you're going to have staggering numbers, and then some days you're going to have to grind, and it's going to be tough days against good defenses. But at the end of the day, don't ever get caught up in stats. Don't ever get caught up in the intangibles of playing the game and leading your team, and getting caught up in the production of making sure that we win the game. Right. And that's what the kid is doing, and I'm proud of him.
13-1 as a starter is Sam Darnold. The head coach, Clay Helton, riding a 13-game winning streak. It'll be put to the test Friday night, 7:30 p.m. on ESPN and ESPN LA 710. Thank you to the coach for rushing over after practice. We appreciate it. We will see him again next week. We'll be back to wrap up Trojans Live next.